What's up, guys? So a frequently asked question I get by a lot of you that reach out to me is they ask why I moved down here. Why did I leave New Jersey to come down to Florida and start a new life, mainly Fort Lauderdale? So in this video, I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons why I moved down here. All right, so welcome back. If this is your first time here, I cover everything and anything related to living in or moving to Fort Lauderdale and the surrounding areas, so make sure to subscribe down below. Also, if you didn't know by now, I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of Florida, so that number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me. If you have any real estate related questions or are planning on making a move down here to Fort Lauderdale or South Florida, I'd love for you to get in touch with me. Call, text, email, days, nights, or weekends, and I got your back. So 5 reasons why I moved down here. It's probably a lot of the same reasons a lot of people leave the Northeast to come down to South Florida, but I'll give you my take on my particular 5, and not in any necessary order. But the first reason that I chose Fort Lauderdale specifically was because of the location. So if you're looking at Fort Lauderdale on a map of Florida, you'll see that it's pretty much directly in the middle of Miami and West Palm Beach. I've said in a previous video that when I was coming down here, I was at first I was thinking maybe like Delray Beach, which is up in Palm Beach County. And then I was also looking into Aventura or North Miami. Miami's just a little bit too crazy. I left North Jersey just because of the congestion and kind of wanted to get away from that. And then Delray, although it is a cool town with a lot of stuff going on, Palm Beach County is just a little bit too slow for me. Fort Lauderdale just happens to be pretty much right in the middle of Miami and the West Palm Beach area. So that's pretty much the main reason why I chose it, in addition to the real estate market down here. Not only is it in close proximity to those 2 cities, but I mean, we have 3 international airports all within an hour drive. So if I want to fly anywhere, it's really not an issue getting to an airport. We have the 2 cruise terminals, the 2 cruise ports, Miami and the Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, again, both in an hour drive. All the sports teams, even though they are in Miami, again, all within a 45-minute to an hour drive. The Keys are only about 2.5 hours. Actually, you can get to the Keys in about an hour and a half probably. Key West is about 2.5 hours. And then just the proximity to the rest of the state as well. I mean, Orlando, you're about 3 hours, Tampa 4. I also like the fact that even though Fort Lauderdale is a city, it's more of a suburban city. So you do get the urban feel the closer to downtown you get, Flagler Village area. But I mean, if you step right outside downtown into a neighborhood like Victoria Park or Rio Vista, for example, you're in the suburbs. I mean, the city is a suburban city. The feel here is just much more laid back and relaxed. I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent off of the location, but that, I guess you could just add that into it as well. So the next reason that I moved down here is because of the weather, obviously, right? But it's probably not what you're thinking of. It's not because it's hot and warm and hot all year long. It's the winters that I moved down here for. As you can see today, I'm wearing a hoodie. I woke up, it was 45 degrees outside, which, we get to experience this weather maybe a couple weeks out of the year, and really this is what we live down here for. We don't live here for the summers because the summers are brutal. We live here for the mild winters. Typically the temperatures still do get in the 80s, but it's the lower 80s. The humidity is not quite as bad. And we do have more days where it'll only get in the 70s and the 60s. And like today, it's gonna, I think, maybe reach 59 or 60 degrees. Coming from a cold climate, sometimes I just miss wearing a hoodie. But you can't beat the weather down here, especially in the winter time. And I don't care what everybody says about the hurricanes. I've lived through more hurricanes living in New Jersey than I have living in Florida. There's tornadoes down here too. I've experienced more tornadoes when I was living out in Denver, Colorado than I have when I lived down here in Florida. So Yes, the weather can get pretty crazy in the summertime as far as rain goes, but since I've been here, knock on wood, we have had no major hurricanes, and it's really just the mild winters. It's our only second season, because really we just have one season, so you can kind of count this as a second season, except for days like today where it's going to be in the 40s in the morning, and it's probably only about 50 right now. We only experience this for maybe a couple weeks out of the year. And because of the weather, because the sun is out almost all the time, the other reason is it's a better quality of life down here. There's just something about sunshine and the sun hitting your skin, it's vitamin D, that just automatically puts you in a better mood. Seeing green all the time, seeing palm trees, seeing water all over the place. There's just something down here that just makes it for a better quality of life. You don't really have a lot of the pollution like I was experiencing up when I was in Jersey. The skies are almost always clear. And even during daylight savings time, we get about an hour extra of sunlight compared to, I guess, the rest of the East Coast. I mean, I just know when I was up in Jersey and it was getting dark at 4:30 p.m. Down here, it's around 6 maybe. It gets dark, so we at least get that little bit of extra sunshine. I'm telling you, the sun does something to you. It just automatically puts you in a better mood. I think it makes a lot of people down here crazy too, the heat, but it's definitely was a mood changer for me, and I noticed it right away as soon as I moved down here. The quality of life also gets better when your cost of living isn't as crazy as it was, for example, when I was up in Jersey. That was the next reason I moved down here. However, things have changed a lot. So when I moved down here, it was March of 2019. We hadn't really hit that real estate boom that started in 2020, so it was still very affordable to live down here. Housing was affordable, rent was very affordable. I had a 1-bedroom apartment on the Intercoastal in Fort Lauderdale when I first moved down here. My rent was $1,300 a month. I mean, that's just unheard of. Even in Jersey, you could barely get a studio for, $1,200-$1,400 a month. So the cost of living was a big factor for me. I would say now it's kind of caught up to a lot of other places in the country. I think it's, from what I hear, it's still very similar now to what it was in Jersey. Obviously, if you're coming from New York City or San Francisco, it's going to be a walk in the park for you. It's a lot cheaper. Our gas is cheaper here. The one downside is in Jersey, we didn't pay sales tax on anything retail, clothing, shoes, stuff like that. So down here, we do have to pay that sales tax. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I do miss that. And when you're comparing apples to oranges, New Jersey or New York to Fort Lauderdale, even if the cost of living is somewhat the same as it was in Jersey now, this goes back to quality of life. I'd rather pay this price to live someplace where I'm waking up in a good mood every day, where the sun's out, and if I'm feeling a little bit sick or whatever, I just go outside and I step in the sun, and it feels like it recharges me. So I don't have any complaints about it, but it definitely has changed. That was one reason why I moved here, and probably has almost caught up. Now, a major reason that the cost of living is going up here is because of the opportunity and the fact that Fort Lauderdale is still developing, which is another reason why I moved down here. The real estate market down here, the opportunities. Florida is a worldwide destination. People are moving here from everywhere all year long. I was in real estate prior up in New Jersey, so I had planned to come sell real estate down here as well, so I knew that the opportunity was here. I also did a lot of research on the area before I moved down here, and I knew about their plans for development, their plans to build, a ton of new commercial space downtown, and 13,000 new residential units by the year 2030. And I just saw the growth before it really started happening. And even from when I first moved down here 4 years ago, the skyline doesn't look the same. It's crazy how much has changed in 4 years. So during the whole, 2020 thing, we'll call it, a lot of companies moved their headquarters down here to the Fort Lauderdale area, just South Florida in general. I feel like Miami is kind of established. They kind of know what they're about yet. I think Fort Lauderdale is still kind of figuring it out, and I like to be in that phase. I think it's pretty cool to watch the city develop. It was similar to when I lived out in Denver, which I don't know if I've ever shared on this channel before, but when I was about 14, I moved out to Denver, Colorado, and back then it was nothing.
Huh. Expected the Rocky Mountains to be a little rockier than this.
I was thinking the same thing. That John Denver's full of shit, man.
It was almost all empty land, except for obviously the city itself. But I stayed there for about 8 years, and I watched the city grow. It's cool to see a city grow, And that was just as a kid. So now I'm experiencing it as an adult in the business world, and I'm excited for the opportunities to come here. So I think these reasons that I moved down here are pretty standard for why a lot of people move down here, unless it's something for like a job transfer or moving to be closer to family or retiring. They're pretty standard. There may be something that you like about the city that I didn't even mention, something that you don't even know about it. And there's really only one way for you to find out, and it's that number that's popping up below. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Let's talk, and I'd love to help you with anything you need in regards to moving to Fort Lauderdale or anywhere in South Florida. So guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.